Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some Meat Eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls because I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like him. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.
I'm KC.
And I'm Tyler.
And you're listening to
the Element Podcast. Hear ye, hear ye.
Oh, no.
Welcome, all Woods people. This is another version of the Element Podcast where we use Old English, and KC reads from the King James version.
Right. I like to call it the King James Podcast by the Element.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're talking about LeBron or?
Yeah, that one.
He's the best,
I'm trying to think of other like famous Jameses, and I can't really think of too many. I guess there's James
why
Dean.
James crying? Because he just got dunked
That's right.
on.
He is the most famous of the Jameses for sure.
What's that dude's name?
Jameis? Isn't that a little different?
No, yeah, that's different.
Yeah.
No, Krispy Kreme is that guy. He turned himself to Froggy Fresh or something because he got Krispy Kreme came after him or whatever.
Got copyrighted.
Yeah.
Man,
copyrights and trademarks are tough.
That's right. Y'all don't be trying to be the Element because we're gonna come after you.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like the Robertsons. They had that show Duck Dynasty, right? Mm-hmm. And now they have this like Unashamed podcast that they do, and they're doing a new show called like Duck Diggers or something. But it's
Duck Family, is that the
something like that?
That
Duck Family Treasure or something. Yeah.
Okay.
And
I thought that might have been a knockoff, and I was like, "What is that?"
No, Jace has gotten into like metal detecting and historical stuff. So I've heard it's a really good show. But when they refer to the Duck Dynasty days, they can't say Duck Dynasty. So they have to say on the podcast, they have to say our first Duck show. That's how they have to say it.
How about that?
Yeah. So it's weird, man. And that stuff's been like, they haven't been doing that stuff in a while. I wonder how long that stuff lasts.
Is that called a statute of limitations? Is that right?
Maybe, because they can release certain seasons and certain episodes because I guess their contract is 5 years or 10 years or whatever it is. So.
If you're a loyal Element fan, follower of ours, and you're a lawyer, send us a message because we have some questions for you.
We have lots of questions. We need some lawyer advice, especially if it's free, man. We'll give you some map scouting stuff for free, which, by the way, you can actually get a really good deal on some map scouting advice through The Element. If you go to our website, theelementwild.com, you'll see right off the bat a event ticket. Now, we've had some discussion about whether this ticket actually takes 7 days to ship or not. It's an e-ticket, so once you sign up for the ticket for the event, we have your name and there will be like a checklist. So it's not like you have to bring a ticket or anything, but it is your essential ticket to this event that we're putting on this weekend. That's the 15th or 14th?
That is the 15th. We need you to go. Okay. We will have the ability for people to do a walk-up type thing where you can, pay admission or whatever when we get there. And it's not a big deal. It's $30, and it's going to pay for itself. But
you may not get much food, though.
Yeah, exactly. Food's going to go first to the people who order. But that's what we need you to get on and as many of you as you can, go ahead and order your ticket. That way we can let the caterer know like how much food to have.
Yeah. So that's kind of what we're trying to figure out food situation more than anything. That's why we're trying to get tickets and head counts ahead of time. So this event is going to be really awesome. it's July. A lot of guys aren't thinking about whitetails yet too much. And so, you know, depending on how many people actually show for this thing, you might have a really, really good chance to win some really cool stuff.
Gosh, dude, how much? Y'all been adding stuff without me, and I'm like, man, this is a little bit much, guys.
Yeah, we so Chad Rice, our friend from Cruiser, who owns Cruiser Saddles, has decided he wants to send a Cruiser saddle to somebody who we decide needs a Cruiser saddle. So if you show up at this event, you are automatically entered. You'll get one ticket. And this is me not running this by KC. You get one ticket when you sign up, a like raffle ticket, right? And that's one way that you can win this saddle. And then we will sell some raffles as well too there. So if you got a little extra cash, you want to bring it, you know, up your chances of winning a saddle. You can also win.
That might be the highest dollar item for sure. Like that's a big deal.
Well,
like,
I don't know.
I didn't ask Chad because I didn't want him to give away something, but he offered. He's like, "Hey, that seems like a cool event y'all have. You want to give away a saddle there?"
Yeah.
I was like, okay,
There's
man.
gonna be some saddle hunters there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So since you're talking about the raffling system, I know you want to tell everybody the other stuff. Are you in the running for all the stuff, or do you have to pick the thing you put your single ticket
Good question.
into?
I think we probably will just do it all at once.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I think you have a chance of winning a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So like if you buy tickets, then you have a chance of winning any of the listed stuff that I'm about to list. So the Cruiser saddle, obviously. First Light is sending some stuff. Let me check on what that is right now.
You have to be a large though. So
You have to be a large. No, actually, he said they would replace. Like send. We can replace if you're not a large. Exchange. That's the word I'm looking for.
I could tell you're trying to find it. No, you're doing two things at once. Yeah. So they're gonna send a bunch of large stuff just because that's what a lot of us are.
Catalyst jacket and bibs. So if you're interested in that kind of stuff,
that's the good stuff.
That's
right?
the good stuff.
That's the stuff that we have, I believe.
Is it?
Eric's here, but he's not on thing. Catalyst is like a little bit warm, right?
Yeah, it's like your mid-November, late November stuff.
Yeah, so Catalyst is the stuff that you're going to need in
Comes
Texas.
from an Illinois guy too. So
yeah, he knows.
in
Yeah.
Texas, that might be like a full season. You know,
That's like you go in that cooler at the back of the gas station. That's what you need in there. But so like it's pretty much your outer layer. That's the only one you'll ever need in Texas, and that's like a full setup for that outer. So that's cool.
We're doing this in Texas. It's
Yeah,
in Austin.
that's right.
So First Light though is sending those two things. Moultrie is going to send a cell camera. So what we'll do is we'll have some cams there for you to look at, but we'll get the winner's information and have Moultrie send it directly to them for free. Vector's going to donate some arrows, maybe like 3 or 4. But we don't know for sure. No, they've got plenty of arrows, so we'll probably give away some hammers and some zimmers.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And you have a chance to win a dozen of them.
Yeah, any of that stuff that's individually particular, we'll just have examples of there. Like with the Moultries, they have different service options, and so you can pick which one you want. So we won't have your camera there, but they'll get it sent to you ASAP.
Yeah, if you're an AT&T guy or a Verizon guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Also, they've got some really interesting things on the front. I don't know if I can talk about it yet.
Yeah, I thought about it too. Just be ready.
Yeah. Anyway, OnX, how are we doing the OnX giveaway stuff? Do you know?
I don't actually know. I need to talk to Jared about this because I think that everybody that shows up is going to get some amount of OnX.
Yeah, I think
and then we might do there might be like a multi-year, multi-state type thing to give away and with some OnX like swag.
Yeah. So OnX is helping us put this thing on. They've been very helpful. You may have seen through their stuff that we are doing this. So we appreciate their support in this, and those are the things that we're going to be giving away. There are things we're going to be doing as well besides just sitting there giving stuff away. But we're gonna like I said, we'll have dinner. While we're kind of eating dinner, we're going to be showing never before seen footage.
Except by us, we've seen it a lot.
It's real good, real good footage of K.C. shooting an Oklahoma buck and it is a cool video. So that'll be before anybody else sees it. It'll be releasing probably a month or two, probably 2 months later. So you'll get a chance to see that way before anybody else.
Yeah, that's the dinner and the movie portion. So this event, we are pretty much getting you to cover catering for us, and we're paying for the event center and all that stuff. It's at Cabela's, but it's $30 a ticket, right? So you imagine dinner and a movie is going to cost you more than that. So it's it'll be a fun thing for maybe your significant other too. If you're in Austin, and you're like, or around, and you're like, your wife's like, listen, it's not hunting season yet. We need to spend some time together. We're like, well, let's go hang out with my cool, fun friends and watch a movie.
Yeah.
Just so happens it's a hunting movie.
Dinner and a movie.
Yeah.
And, I get a chance to win something that I
Yeah.
won't have to buy
Exactly.
before deer season, you
Yeah.
know? So, I mean, there's so much stuff that we're giving away. Who knows? Like, there may not actually be anybody that leaves without something at this thing. So
Shouldn't be.
I mean, if between all Onyx especially,
I think, as far as I know, everybody will get a single state Onyx membership that shows up. So you should be good on that.
So then we're going to do a little Q&A session, so you kind of ask anything you want. Actually, that may be the way we wrap this thing up, but we're going to do some map scouting stuff, so kind of show you what we do, how we break down a map, where we go. If we go out of state, like, how do we start? Where do we start? And then we're going to narrow in and show you some stuff. And then through that, basically the Q&A is wrapped into, like, it's an open floor for you guys to ask questions and for us to deliver the best answers that we can. So.
And I always like to pose these type things as maybe y'all aren't asking the experts, but instead you are putting a question out there for the floor, and maybe Tyler and I have the first chance to answer, and then we will be like, anybody else have anything else to say about that? Because we always like to say we're high on experience, pretty low on expertise. We've done a lot of stuff, so we can give you our point of view. But that was one of the things
I can
last
tell you how
year.
not to mess up.
That's
sometimes.
right.
It's kind of like a passive way of being successful.
That's why we did that fails video here a while back. But last year at our meetup event, we had quite a few people show up, and that was like one of my favorite parts was the Q&A part, because it turned into that where people were like, well, I've done that too and saw this. And, it's like, interesting.
Well, and I can guarantee you these, we just put out a stick video too, and there's a lot more guys that know a lot more about sticks and daisy chains than I do. So, like there's.
Dude, I didn't even know that thing. I knew Versus traps were a thing, but I didn't know that's what that thing was called.
Let me just tell you, it's semantics.
Yeah.
Because I looked up daisy chain, and the first thing that came up was that strap.
Well,
so.
it is a.
Yes.
It's a daisy chain.
That's right.
It's just made of strap.
It's like, it's like an automotive or a car. People can say all the cars on the road, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Look at all them cars on the road, and some of them are trucks. Okay, we understand that those are vehicles. Okay, it's okay. It's kind of like people in the South saying, "I want a Coke," and they really want a Dr. Pepper. It's like.
Which is a Coke product, so, hey.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Dr. Pepper is, it's Coke.
Man, sellouts.
Well, yeah, for sure. It hasn't always been.
Whataburger too, man.
Dude, I'm a Pepsi man, I've decided recently.
That's good, dude. I was a Pepsi kid growing up.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Pop had Pepsis. I remember when
Shaq, dude.
When they went from red, white, and blue to like the straight, like dark blue can, it was like a big deal.
Yeah, it was.
Strange.
Shaq made it cool, man.
Are you old enough to remember? I know you are. I'm asking people to remember when they redesigned the mouths on aluminum cans. They used to be kind of more thumb-shaped, but now they're kind of wide. The thing that pops open or whatever. Yeah. I think it was like 94, 95. They did something like that. And now
I don't know if I had a Coke before then.
All aluminum cans. Oh, I was drinking Pepsis when I was 2. One time my dad – I don't do that.
This is actually going to segue real nicely into my next talking point.
One time my dad filled a Pepsi can up with water and gave it to me, and I almost threw up. Because it was that whole, like, just not what you expected thing.
Yeah, your mind can't handle it.
No.
It's weird, dude.
Strange.
We talked about this last night. We got home. And my kids wanted to watch the new Dude Perfect, right? Which turned into like a Dude Perfect binge session. And
can't imagine.
They were eating like they bring these items to like the table, right? Mm-hmm. And show and they vote on whether it's good or not. Well, one of them brought ice cream in like a KFC bucket that was shaped like fried chicken. So when you pick it up, it looks like a piece of fried chicken. You bite it, it's crunchy, but it's ice cream on the inside. and their minds were warping on that stuff, you know. So I told my wife last night, I was like, you know what, I can relate, because if I ever get a Powerade bottle full of water or something like that and drink it, I'm like, I can't understand what this is, man.
It's weird, man.
So yeah, that's, you know, we actually watched I listened to a TED Talk yesterday on I can't remember the lady's name, but it's like on kind of the corruption within the food system. And
that's one of my favorites.
Yeah. So there's you've been talking a lot about seed oils a lot, and trying to cut those out of your diet. And anyway, this lady, she's real dramatic. You know, she's pretty good at public speaking and making her point and being dramatic. But like, basically, she was just talking about how much intrusion there is into the American food system for like weed killers and insecticides. And
it's a real big thing. Dude, people are dogging on glyphosate right now.
Yeah.
Bad.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, it sounds like there's good reason, but it's like that's big in the news right now. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody did a report recently. I think Rogan posted
Mark
that.
Kenyon just posted about it too.
Yeah, it's like
if
80%.
Anything Rogan posts, Mark's going to repeat. So
Dang, Mark, I hope you're not listening.
he's not, dude. He's fishing. He ain't got time for the Elon podcast right now.
He caught a almost 20-inch fish. Dang.
Almost public water fish.
It's like oh man, I caught a 10-pounder, but it's really like a 998.
Yeah, it's close. If I caught a 998, I would call it a 10-pounder.
Yep, everybody does.
For what it's worth.
Anyways, he's gonna hate us if he hears this. So anyway, where was that? Oh yeah, so they were saying like 80% of people urine testing had glyphosate in their urine or whatever.
Are you?
I'm not. I used to urine test.
Oh
yeah. What were you using, like some wordplay there or something?
Yeah.
What was it?
Urine testing?
You're in testing.
Yeah.
I'm not in testing. That's
not right now.
I'm out of testing. But yeah, so anyway, I thought that was interesting. But there's a lot of you're right. There's a lot of people like dogging on that. But it's weird because from what this lady says, I'm just taking like, who even knows what is real anymore? You know
I
what
think
mean?
that's the point of a TED Talk. It's like the idea is, which I don't know that much about them, so maybe I'm wrong. But the idea is like this person is passionate about something, and you're listening to what they have to say about it. Mm-hmm. So it's not like you don't have to cite your stuff on TED Talks, from what I understand. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's it. That's exactly right. It's like, where is this coming from? But apparently she had done a bunch of, looking at, I guess, FDA or USDA stuff.
Oh, that's informative for sure.
Yeah. So that's the thing is like, dude, the what's supposed to be the authority is who knows anymore, you know what I mean?
Exactly. So, the authority is, well, never mind. That's going to get us fired for sure.
Yeah, okay. So but for real, like the fact that it's Food and Drug Administration, if you really want to look at how those two things should not be associated.
Yeah. What about TABC?
Yeah.
Tobacco, alcohol, and alcoholic beverage.
Booty clenching.
It's like, why? What does tobacco have to do with alcohol?
Yeah.
It's a joke.
Yeah. So anyway, she was saying something along the lines of like other countries in the world, because of demand, like say Coke, for instance. I'm not trying to call any names out here, but I'm just saying, like, for instance, make an example. Say Coke might be one of these big food producers. They would like not put dyes and stuff in their products because in other countries, like the general citizen like rejects dyes, like just through it being fake or whatever. And so like they can't sell it if they have dyes in it, like it won't sell. So the demand is not there for it. So they'll take it out and then they'll sell it because it's sugar water and it's somewhat natural. You know what I mean? So
give it to me.
Yeah. So like I just, I don't know, I found that really interesting. I didn't know that.
It's why we like Mexican Cokes.
Yeah.
And if you're not from where we are, that's not a racially degrading thing. They are made in Mexico. They are Mexican Cokes because they're made with cane sugar and not made with high fructose corn syrup. Mm-hmm. So your body just does better on it.
Like, they're tastier.
They're good. Yeah. And they don't make you feel bad.
Yeah.
That's
the thing is like, it's not such a processed or foreign, and that's another point she was making is like that there's so many food allergies these days because the foreign products that are put into food.
Yeah.
And they're put in there for the sake of, and people are probably bored, but I'm just saying, like, they're put in there for the sake of, production, basically. It just helps production and it helps margins and stuff. And so I don't know, it's very interesting, but
a lot of it is subsidies more than margins, but yeah. I could go on and on about this stuff.
Yeah.
So
we probably shouldn't.
You're right. People are getting bored, so I'm sorry.
So
I'll stop.
yeah. Anyway, but we were looking at that. We were on the way back from a trip, and that's one thing we were talking about, and we were also talking about the Elon Twitter thing, which is interesting in its own right. Have you seen anything recently?
I just saw that it's like he rejected the deal or something.
Yeah. So apparently they're going to sue him, and Bloomberg says that it is highly likely, or it's likely that he will still have to buy Twitter. They'll force him to buy Twitter. I don't know how that works, how that stuff works, but I guess because of some kind of almost like defamation or something.
Yeah,
it's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah. So
the last thing I had seen is that, and this is recent, so it might be just a different perspective, but something was saying that. Elon might get Twitter for a lower price.
Because all the bots or whatever?
Yeah, or something. Yeah, I don't really know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't know. That's what Kaylee read us from a couple days ago, 3 days ago or something like that. But anyway, those are the two things we were digging on yesterday as we were driving back from Amarillo. We actually weren't in Amarillo very long.
Longer than expected.
Yeah, we were. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But a couple weeks ago, you and I went up to Illinois, and that's Eric's home state.
In Wisconsin.
Eric's sitting over there just pumping his fists.
He is.
He's actually from Indiana, Illinois, and Ohio, right?
That's right.
In Kentucky.
Central.
Yeah. Central, Western, Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's it's funny.
Yeah, aren't you from you're from Central Illinois, but Eastern Illinois University is where you live. Yeah, we should have gave you a headset. I'm sorry.
It's either Chicago or Central, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Or Southern.
Does anybody want to be considered from Southern Illinois? Yeah. Okay, all right. So there are some proud Southern Illinoisers out there.
I've been to Southern Illinois once.
What is an Illinois person called? Like a Texan?
Illinoisan?
I don't know if that's correct.
I think it's an Illini.
Is it an Illini?
Illini.
Yeah, it's like a racial thing. I can't believe they let them get away with that now.
Yeah.
That's so wrong, dude. So
it is.
Yeah, but we were in Illinois. That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We spent some time doing. I don't know. We may have hashed this out already, y'all. If we did, I'm sorry. We've been back and forth and crazy, doing our thing. But
ebb and flow.
We've been ebbing and flowing. Evan. We went to Beast Mode, which was like this event where dudes train all year for this thing apparently because we were bad, way behind, right? And I can tell you right now, when I talk about the rest of the story here in a little bit, I'm in pretty decent shape right now. I've come to find out, and I was third to last in this event, which I could have pushed harder. I was just out there to finish it basically, and hanging out with you and Isaac and everything. But
yeah, and I'm not trying to give myself a handicap, but one of us had 40 pounds in their pack and one of us didn't too. So, I can't, dude. Did those people really have 40 pounds in their pack that were going that fast?
Dude. They were hauling. These dudes are weird, dude. I'm telling you, they are super.
There's a lot of them listening right now. So
are there?
We mean weird in a good way.
Yeah, no, weird weirdly.
Weird cool
in
weird.
Shape.
Okay.
Yeah, weird. You spend too much time getting in shape here. No, it's a good thing because it feels good to be in shape. But anyway, they were kicking it, man, and we did that whole thing, and it was fun. We actually had quite a bit of fun shooting the 3D course. I felt like we did. I shot real well early on. I got kind of tired and didn't shoot as well at the end. And then the last one we shot was a sheep at 55 yards uphill, real steep. And I kept hitting left, which was weird because I was using my bubble and everything. I actually shot a better shot when I didn't use my bubble, when I just felt like I was good. You know what I mean? The last shot I
wonder if
shot,
that means your third axis is off on your.
It's potentially the
sight.
The issue. I'm going to take my bow to the bow shop soon. Because I got a few things that I got to get tuned up before we go.
Yeah.
But
We've been pretty hard on them with the traveling. Dude, that's the thing. You just don't know.
I know.
I mean, I had a serious issue that wasn't the bow's fault about a month ago. That it was just from mistreatment from somebody. I don't think it was me. I'm not blaming anybody, but it's just like a thing that can happen or whatever.
Yeah.
But so it's good, I think, to do that. You know, you hate to be that cliche guy who shows up to the shop right before deer season, but like it's good to do like a little bit of a checkup almost. You know, make sure everything's good.
Yeah, well, I think the bow shop appreciates that more than a full from the ground up.
Yeah,
build,
hey, I need some new arrows.
yeah, for real.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we went from the beast mode deal after we. Oh, the ants are biting me.
Ain't good.
We went to. We were hanging out with Isaac from Vector, and we spent a lot of time with him. Had a good time. Went to Illinois. Isaac has helped us, and we worked our way into some access. We helped a farmer build a horse barn, stall, whatever you want to call it. So we kind of got that going for him and went and got lumber for him and everything. And basically, over the course of a couple of days of working on that thing, earned some access to a really awesome farm. I think it's going to be awesome. It gets hunted a little bit. But I don't think it's been gun hunted in a long time. And there definitely are some big deer around. So K.C. and I and Isaac all went kind of scouting around and kind of gathered our thoughts one afternoon. And then the next afternoon, after we got done building some stuff, we went and put out 5 cameras.
That's right. 5 Moultrie Deltas.
Delta base.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So the base we've been using here at home this spring and summer. Actually, we used it in Oklahoma.
We did. We got like some of the first bases available.
Yeah.
And put them out. And one of them is still going in Oklahoma, going strong.
Dude, we have been super impressed with that camera for sure.
So, admittedly from Moultrie, the Delta had a couple bugs.
Yeah.
And they weren't real happy with that, and they actually switched manufacturers.
Yeah.
Now because the other people didn't really want to do anything about it. So Moultrie they're doing something, and I don't want to go too off into that. But if you have problems with your original Delta, reach out and they'll help you out a little bit.
Yeah.
Maybe
but the base, man, has been awesome. They're taking great pictures.
I can't complain about it.
I know.
I don't have anything bad to say.
Yep. It's wild. It's really good. So we put 5 of those up in Illinois, and it's summertime. It's hot. Like the deer have food everywhere. No reason for them to move too much. And we've gotten quite a few deer pictures, and recently got 2 shooter bucks on video or on camera, and we're gonna be posting those. So if you are listening to this, check in on our Instagram. You can see those sometime soon this week.
Man, what's a shooter?
That's a good question, but I think I'll speak for all of us here and say that a Pope and Young class deer, something that'll gross 125 or better. I know it's net 125, but something that'll gross 125 or better is kind of the thing. I think there's also this is kind of a weird deal, but like I think there's also a little bit of like a shared success. So if you shoot a 130-inch deer, I might hold out for a little bit bigger one just because it's like I feel like we did something. Now let's hold out. But it also depends on like what we see on the cameras, right? Like if the cameras aren't showing any bigger deer and they're mostly just kind of popers or around that, then I'll be glad to dude, I love shooting 115-inch 8-point. I think that is awesome, dude.
That's right, dude. It's cool.
I mean,
we're going to have a lot of camera data for me to really understand what a shooter is, because this place is a lot different than anything we really get to do very much. You know, we're going to travel a lot this fall, and like most of the places we go, you just know a shooter when you see him.
Yeah.
This is going to be a lot different. We're going to have data, and we're going to have like an understanding of potential, and so all that's weighing in. But I can tell you this, like neck size plays in a lot for me on this stuff, man. Like, and I don't want to say age class because I can't, Dude, I'm not from Northern Illinois. I can't tell you the difference in a 4 and a 5-year-old, but I can tell you when a buck is bucky.
Yeah.
You know, and like he might be a 125, but he's kind of pencil neck, which means he's probably younger, you know, than I'm probably like, you know, but dude, a 118 rolls through. He's an 8-point with mass and short G3s. Oh, it's going down,
Dude,
bro.
I'm telling you.
I'm getting hype right now.
Dude, I know. I can't wait. We've got two, like I said, we got two on camera right now. One is a big 8. Now, it's hard to tell with velvet, and also it's still early to mid-July, so who knows what he's going to end up being. But he's got like a big enough frame to potentially get to that 140 mark as an 8, I think.
That's a toad.
Yeah. And then we've got another one who has like this kind of like his G3 and 4 are real close together. And it kind of makes for like almost like a mass ball on that side. It is cool, dude. He's potentially going to be really big.
Yeah. You know what's neat about that deer is he has all that extra mass there, and that side isn't lacking in beam length because of that. It's like deer do this thing, and I'm noticing this like with a deer we have locally on camera that we aren't going to get to hunt, sadly. But we get to see him a lot because we're hog hunting there. He's got some extras on one side, and that's making – I don't think that side's going to score that much more than his other side because it's kind of making his beam shorter, his overall time length's a little shorter on that side. Just he's growing about the same amount of antler on each side. But then you got deer like that deer we got in Illinois. It's just like the extras are extras.
Yeah.
Like he has a regular frame, and then just so happens some stuff is added on.
It's weird, man. You know the world record buck from a few years back that was killed in Illinois? Like, one side scored outrageous.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's weird how they can, like, northern deer like that can do that sometimes. But, yeah.
It's because that deer is standing in a field of protein.
Yep.
So, like, the antler potential is to the max.
Seed oils, man.
That's
They
it.
make you big.
That's exactly what it
They make
is.
you big, dude.
Except they ain't eating the seeds that much. But, dude, don't get me started, bro.
They got that shiny coat,
It's actually
dude.
pretty conflicting for me
I know.
because
I've thought about it too.
the only reason there's so many soybean fields is because of the seed oil industry. Like, and like if we stop doing that, then the deer don't have as much food, and I'm gonna be sad.
Yeah. Oh man, alfalfa's pretty high in protein.
It is. I would love to plant some alfalfa, but it ain't gonna happen.
It's dry enough.
It is. We can get in the fields, eh?
We are in a major drought. Like, okay, here's another question for you.
I love
we're talking about
questions.
conspiracies here. If you look at the drought monitor map for the U.S. right now,
So stupid.
we're like a orange or like dark yellow or something.
It's because they do it over a time span.
Yeah.
And it's like a year,
It's like year to date or whatever.
It's years even.
Okay.
So like you can see some of the stuff that actually they've had a little more rain than us, and they're in a worse drought than we are. And it's because, well, over the last 36 months, they've only gotten X amount of precipitation. But rain's
Like
a lot.
all the grass from this spring that's new, all it needs is the annual precipitation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And so, like, it doesn't matter that you were in a drought. I mean, what matters, I guess the reason they do that is because of, like, Colorado River water system and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because that feeds a lot of people, right?
Yes.
So, but, like, for the actual, like, habitat of animals and for hay production and stuff like that, it's different.
Rain is what have you done for me lately?
Yeah.
And it ain't done nothing for us lately.
Dude, it is crispy.
Dude, in East Texas where we live, and I don't know if it's this way, a couple hours south or whatever, but like the last substantial rain that we got was maybe April, maybe early May. I can't remember, but we haven't, your house especially, we had a heat shower at my house a couple weeks back. It got a little bit, but like at your house, I bet you there hasn't been like over a 16th inch of a rain in 2 months.
Dude, we had a pop-up one afternoon, and the water droplets didn't cover the ground.
Yeah.
Like you could see in the sand, the dust or whatever, that like there was still dry spots all between the rain. So
Yeah, and
like
you know
it
what
didn't
that
even,
means?
It didn't do nothing.
It does, that moisture
soak in
doesn't
at all.
make it anywhere.
No.
It evaporates right away.
That's right. Yeah. It's bad, y'all. Like, it's so bad that I've got a little like a little bitty pond on my place that deer and hogs have always used. It's never been dry really. me and Eric just took back a syrup tub with a bunch of 5-gallon buckets of water and filled up the syrup tub to put back there because it is bone dry. And there's still deer like using my property, but I don't know where the nearest water is. And so I'm trying to give them something, because I mean, it's at the point where like fawns and stuff, like they're getting milk water. And so those does are going through a lot of water consumption probably. Like the fawn, if they dry up, fawns are dead. You know what I mean? Or they're going to die soon. Or if the fawns can't get to water, they're going to die.
That's the weird thing about deer, from what I understand. And I'm not a biologist, but like humans, we have, I guess, empathy or whatever you might call it. Some of us do. That's a whole other political thing, and it shouldn't even be political.
No.
But a good mother human will like die and father for their baby. A deer gets to a point where it's like, okay, I have to abandon, this fawn so that I survive. And it's an animalistic thing. It's survival of the species, you know, and that's the way you do it. Live on to have more babies.
Survival of the fittest kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the fittest animal is the one that a coyote won't take down.
Yeah, that's right.
And a little bitty deer, it doesn't matter how healthy it is, can get eaten by a coyote real quick.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, sorry, you don't get to make it. Because you rely on me and I rely on nobody.
And we can get to that point real quick right now, man. Like if we don't get something within the next month, it's going to be rough.
And what people don't understand also that are listening, some of them, is that it ain't just no rain. We're having 100-degree and over every day.
Every day.
There's 107s in the forecast, and it's not like it ain't Arizona dry heat. This is sweltering heat. This is bad stuff. So
the other weird thing, which we've had a reprieve from recently, is that we were having nights that didn't get below 80, which is hot. Right? Like there's some people who are having 80s as highs in the summer, like in New Hampshire, like, oh, this is great, but we're not even getting that at night. And compounding, right? Because energy costs go up because your air conditioner has to run all night, which, I don't know. It's wild, dude. We got to get something different. Something's got to change. You got something different recently. Yeah. Because y'all decided to go hide out.
Yeah, we did.
For a little while.
Yeah, we went to Colorado. That's why we were in Amarillo. Because Amarillo's not in Colorado, but Amarillo's the way.
It's halfway. We're still in our own state, and it's halfway. Actually, it's further than halfway depending on where you're going. It's way further than halfway to Colorado.
Yeah.
I always thought about Amarillo being halfway as to our final destination from where we used to hunt.
Yeah, and it's a pretty good haul to where y'all used to hunt.
It is a long way.
Like, it ain't even halfway to where,
Isn't it 7 hours to Amarillo?
Yeah.
And, like, you can be in South Fork in 10 and a half.
Crazy.
How wild is that?
I know, dude. I know. Yeah, so we wanted to beat the heat. We saw these 100-degree temps coming, and we always try to go beat the heat in the mountains in the summer, pretty much every year. So, and my wife and kids are pretty flexible. They're used to my wife's a coach, so like they're used to a schedule that's never the same. Whereas like other kids that I know, other people and their kids that I know are not like, they may be like get in bed at 8 every night, and their kids go to sleep on their own, and they crawl off in bed, go to sleep at 8 o'clock. They wake up at 6:30 or whatever. That is not my kids. And so, but those, like, I've noticed that those kids a lot of times don't just wing it very easy. You know what I mean? And so we've kind of have the ability to do that with our kids being used to just winging it, and we just go and don't plan a whole lot. I got like an area I want to go fishing, it's usually something new or something with native fish, and we go, take off, and just kind of like as we go, we're like, oh, well, we're going to be in this area, so let's see if we can come across a campground that looks all right and stay the night there. And we do. And then some nights we get a cabin and sleep in a decent bed and maybe wash our clothes at a hotel or something like that, and or a cabin, and move on.
Y'all stay in official campgrounds often?
Yeah. But they don't always. Most of them don't cost money.
Really?
Yeah, they're just like far enough away, but they are like federally designated campgrounds or whatever. They got the sign. And
they have water?
Not usually.
Okay.
Yeah, we carry water usually.
I think that's the thing is like when there's potable water or potable, however they say it. I think If
I
you,
know.
if
I
you're-
know. They say it potable, but it shouldn't be, dude. What are we
I
doing
think it's
here?
the long O thing, man.
It is.
Like
potable.
if you're from about, I don't know, let's say north of Raton, New Mexico, you probably really like to say portable.
Portable.
But potable, as in you can put it in a pot and drink it.
Some people say patable.
They probably do.
Just a pat. That goes.
That's good.
Ooh, nobody knows.
That's all right, dude. Eric does. So I think that's like the line of delineation on if it's a pay campground or not. If there's potable water there,
That makes sense.
yeah, that they've invested some stuff into,
Yeah, we saw that. We actually saw that play out, I would say.
Yeah.
Yep. So
which is nice to have sometimes. But here's a little. You want to talk about a cheat code? You can go pot your water, but not stay at that campground
yeah.
and still get you some water.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. How about that?
Yeah.
You just lay down like $2 bill. Thanks
You
for the
got
water.
a $2 bill?
So that's what I do. I carry $2 bills.
Do you?
That way I can
That's cool.
Freak people out, I get stuff for cheap that way. You know how like people are like, yeah, you should buy your house with cash or your vehicle with cash because you can get a better deal.
Yeah.
That's how I do with $2 bills. Like,
That's right.
hey, I know it's $4, but I've got a $2 bill. It's really
You
cool.
want this guy?
This is cool.
Yeah.
No. But yeah, so we went and did that, dude. It was really, really nice. Caught. I'm not gonna really talk about where I was too much, except
wouldn't.
for the fact that
Those native fish or the good fishing holes you got to protect.
yeah,
you know?
well,
Yeah.
and also part of this trip was to look at some country that I potentially may be able to hunt.
I didn't even know you were going to say that much.
Yeah.
Look at you. Yeah.
So I just wanted to see like if the country that I was in may be worth hunting.
Is it?
And yes, it is. There's some cool stuff, dude. There's some real cool stuff. And we moved around a lot too, so I can't like we didn't stay where like we spent some time, quite a bit of time where I would potentially hunt, but like we didn't stay there. We moved around a lot, and we saw some awesome stuff, dude. We saw so many cool things. We saw the first place we went. We saw a bunch of sheep, no rams, but like. We saw a group of probably 30 ewes and lambs.
That's a lot.
Huge group, dude. Right next to the road. Got some cool pics.
When's the breeding season? Is it called a rut?
November. Yeah.
On those
so.
things too. Mm-hmm. So when does the term rut not count? Like elephants don't
Domestic.
rut, but elephants don't rut.
Do they?
They musk.
They musk. Like Elon.
Yeah.
So
Maybe
Elon
that's why.
rut.
Maybe
Elon,
like
dude,
he's
should
from
be a deer-
Africa.
He should be a hunter for sure. Dude.
He should, dude.
He probably is. You know those rich guys don't like a lot of them hunt and they don't put it in, that nobody knows about it because
Who do they have to impress?
well,
Yeah.
A, and B, who do they have to disimpress?
Yeah.
Because if they start showing pictures of themselves with dead animals. But, like, I know, like, I've seen pictures of dudes that I didn't know hunted, but, like, are associated with somebody I know. And they're like, oh, yeah, so-and-so, like, he went to Africa last year with me, or my friend or whatever. And it's like, they're like, don't show anybody this. Don't talk about it. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to. But, it's crazy. It's, like, weird how they don't want that to be a thing. But Elon probably is he's an elephant rut hunter. Probably.
I can see that.
Yeah. You know what else we saw?
What?
I got real good pictures of a big moose.
That's cool.
Yes. We'll have to post them. I got cool
How many
pictures.
points do you have?
Not enough.
That's always the answer.
0.
Do you really have 0 points?
Yeah, I can't put in for them. I can't afford it, dude. Or couldn't
I
afford
thought
it.
you did at one point in time.
Because at one point you had to front the whole tag.
Yeah.
And then recently they've gone to otherwise, but it's still $100, dude.
Well, dude, it would be better to front the whole tag for now. In my place in life,
Yeah.
like I can, figure out a way now to like set aside $2,000 for a couple months. I really don't want to figure out how to like just give Colorado $100.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a lot different.
And this is the thing, man. Like people are like, "Oh, it's just $100." This is something I wanted to talk about a little bit in regards to this trip. Is like, dude, I'm still really poor, and I found that out yesterday.
Yeah.
I maybe try to jump around too much, but on the way back from Colorado yesterday, maybe I should tell this other part of the story first. We did a lot of fishing on the trip.
Okay.
Caught a bunch of fish. Had a couple of really good experiences where like I pulled up to a creek one time, and like first 5 casts caught like 3 browns that were like 10, 11, 12 inchers, and I immediately knew like this is a good spot.
This is a spot.
Yeah. So I let Jet, my son, fly fish, and he's 10, and he caught 3 by himself over the next like 25, 30 minutes.
Did he feel the stoke? Has he got the
He
stoke
loved
now?
it. He loved
That's
it. And
good.
he's caught a few before on his own. 2 years ago, maybe we went to New Mexico, and he caught a few. But he was doing the whole thing on his own. I was telling him where to cast, but no, it's a little bit right of there. Got to keep your rod tip high and fling it down. All this, giving him advice. But like he caught 3 fish by himself, and then like he went back to the truck to get water, and I probably caught 4 or 5 by the time he got back to the truck from the truck, which was 10 yards from us. I mean, it was insane, dude.
All dry fly fish?
No, I had a dropper on,
Yeah.
but I caught several on dry too.
Yeah.
But browns are a little bit easier on a dropper sometimes. Well, anyway, I was like, I probably could have sat there and caught a legit 30 fish that hour. I mean, it was insane.
That's a
dude.
fish
And,
every 2 minutes, Tyler.
dude, I'm telling you, it was insane, dude.
That's cool.
And they were in every little spot on that river.
Yeah, we talked on the phone like after that.
Yeah.
And we were talking about how cool it is to fish a place where like you get this bass fishing a lot. You make a cast to a spot like, oh, this is it, and then it doesn't happen. And then you do that 600 times that day, and you catch 2 bass.
Yeah.
Well, it's cool to go to a river that has a healthy fish population that like every seam in every pocket has the fish, and it's just about you putting the fly in the right place.
Yeah, not letting it drag.
Yeah, I've only done that in a few places, and
Me too.
the Smoky Mountains are one of the places that I do see that.
Really?
Yeah,
That's cool.
there are a couple streams that happen.
Dude, remind me after this podcast. I have some things to talk about as far as like Eastern fishing
Oh, okay.
goes.
All right.
So,
Sounds good.
okay, so, but yes, that was one of those special times. I didn't get to spend enough time there because we had to kind of move on. We were in a wild place, a very wild place. Even though there was a road there, it was like the only road for a long time. And so caught the fish or whatever, had a good time. So we went a couple days later. We ended up staying in a cabin, and we moved up. I told my family, my wife was thinking that they would want to do a hike, and so I was like, "That's a pretty good one." It's like on X, it's showing pretty steep, but it's like 1.4 miles.
How did you figure out the steepness?
Because I measured the trail. I think you can just click on a trail and it'll show you like actually you don't have to click on certain trails. It'll show you like basically yellow, orange, red, and green. So
And there's a gradient.
yeah,
to it.
the warmer the hotter the trail color is, the steeper it is, and it goes like from like 0 to like 12% grade or something like that.
Which
so
12% doesn't sound like much,
it doesn't.
but it sure enough is.
It is. And it was, this is how I was telling you, kind of show you how I feel like I'm in pretty good shape right now. We decided to go do this, and my family thought it would be good. And
It's called the trail slope layer.
yeah. So that's what I use. And I also built the trail that we would take on by drawing a line on the trail. And I ended up could see the distance it was, and it shows like if you click on the line, it shows you a gradient and your elevation gain and loss or whatever, and it shows you like these little different colors all the way through. It's pretty cool. But it was like a 1.4 mile trail, and I think it was a almost 1,300 foot gain. So it was fairly steep, I would say.
Sounds pretty good.
But I felt good the whole time. Of course, we went real slow because I had a 6-year-old and a 10-year-old with me and my wife. And, she stays busy and doesn't have time to work out like all these other Instagram fakies. But so, they struggled compared to me. But, like, I felt real good the whole time. And we ended up, like, I need to look on the map. But I think we ended up over 13,000 feet.
It's pretty high.
At a lake. And
Yeah.
there was an insane amount of cutthroats in it.
Did you catch them?
No.
They're tough.
So
Or did you not bring a rod?
No, I brought a rod.
Okay. I mean, I wouldn't think that
No,
you.
that's why. Yeah, that's why we went to this place. I wasn't just hiking to be up 13,000 foot, which some people like that. That is not me.
I kind of want to hike to a 14er to say I did it.
Yeah, I would do that too.
Yeah.
I would too.
There's a couple that you only have to hike like
But nobody
a
cares
mile.
about 13ers. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So,
I do. I
yeah,
appreciate
okay.
it, man.
Okay, so anyway, we went to this lake, right? And I had you gave me a website, and it actually didn't have any information about the lake, like the normal stuff that it says.
The department website?
Yeah. But it said that it said something like cutthroat's possible or something like that. So anyway, we hiked up to this lake. I knew that knowing what it drains, and I'll tell you later what it drains or what comes out of it. I knew that it should have cutthroats in it where it was at. So we get up there, and my wife actually didn't make it. She gets
Thoughts and prayers, man.
Yeah, she gets a lot of sickness type like vertigo type stuff. Not like vertigo necessarily, but she can get nauseous real easy. So
Especially being married to you.
yeah, for real. So many good jokes.
I'm sorry. My wife's that way too. We're both ugly. It's fine.
That's right. So she got where she was obviously tired and feeling she just did not want to get elevation sickness. So she actually made it to like within 300 yards of this place probably. And long story short, didn't. She was like, I was like, you want to come up? I was yelling at her. She was like, no, I'll just stay down here. So we came back down to her or whatever. We didn't fish long. It was me and Jet and Journey. But when we first pulled up, like, I need to show you. Let's see. It's at... There's 13,000 there. It's right below 13,000. It's like 12. Wow, there's 12.8 right there. I mean, it's like right below 13,000. It's over. I mean, I think it's over 12.8. Yeah, it's way over 12.8. Crazy, dude.
That's high.
Yeah. So anyway,
That's about 12,400 foot higher than what we are right now.
That's exactly right, dude. Insane.
Yeah.
So here, I'll show you a little video.
Okay, so for those of
You
you
see
wondering,
that?
there's scree, there's blue water. What, there's fish there? Oh, my goodness. I thought
Everywhere,
those were
dude.
rocks.
Yeah. So
Wild.
yeah. So here's the deal: is like when we got up there, Jet saw the fish. He wanted to catch one, and it was kind of windy, and so I was like, there was the tail end of the pool that was leading out to the tailwater had like a 15-inch bright red male just hounding some like 13-inch females. And there was like 4 or 5 of them in there in this little pool. And it was crystal clear. And I was like, oh, man. So I was like, but it was tough, because you had to kind of sneak up on them and stuff and it was real rocky. So I tried to let Jet cast it. It was becoming a disaster. And I was like using a 7X tippet because it was so clear and they wouldn't hit a 5. And finally I put on like a 7X and I put on a Parachute Adams. A little one, like an 18 or 16, and casted it. I was casting for him. I cast it in there, and this dude just comes right up and takes it. And I set the hook. I was like, all right, Jet. I thought, well, this is going to be easy, like if they're going to do that. Hand it to Jet. He loses it within 5 seconds.
Sad.
And it's not even fighting that hard because they're lake fish, And he loses it because the left hand is difficult for him. He's still working on that. Well, so from then I could not get any of those fish to hit after that. And then I went over to all the ones I just showed you. There was hundreds of them, dude, on this flat little bench. And I had maybe one bite and like one of those ones where you set the hook and it just goes, you just barely feel the fish and it comes out. That was it. I couldn't get any of them to hit anything, dude. I was trying 7X tippet. I was trying tiny little size 20 droppers. I was trying big old grasshoppers. I tried a woolly bugger. I couldn't get anything, dude.
Did you try a scud?
No, I didn't because, dude, it was one of those deals where like my wife was somewhere down the trail and I was like feeling bad the whole time that I
know
left
what you
her.
mean.
Yeah, and I was
They're
just
like, it's okay.
Yeah, I asked her 100 times. She was
Yeah.
like, okay with it. And she was okay when I got back. She's like, you should have stayed up there. And I was like, you just don't know. Like there's an anxiety involved with leaving your wife at 12,000 feet on a trail and not knowing if she's going to get elevation sickness or whatever.
Yeah.
So, and also having 2 young kids with you at 13,000 feet by yourself, you know?
Yeah.
And so.
At least you don't have grizzlies in the equation.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I like Colorado.
That's right.
It's about the only reason. But so I just had this anxiety the whole time. I was trying to tie, you know, droppers and, you know, tippets and stuff. And it was a headache, really, is what it was. And that's why I want you and your family to go up there with us next year.
You want my family up there? Interesting.
And our families can spend time at about 9,000 feet,
okay.
and you and I can go up to 12,000 and just beast mode it and just catch all the fish.
Without the 40 pounds?
Yeah.
I think I don't have as much experience at those high mountain lakes, but I have fished a little bit. And the cutthroats, at least, they seem to be real tough.
Yeah.
I think it's a couple of things. The clear water doesn't help, but I think those fish get so particular about what they eat because they only see like one type of thing.
There was some ants up there. There were a ton of like houseflies, you know, like a normal housefly looking thing. They were everywhere, but I didn't see any other kind of hatches.
Yeah. I think that those things, they eat a lot of like size 24, 26 tiny midge larvae.
Yeah.
I think
so too.
It's weird that those fish can grow to be footballs doing that.
I tried a size 18 or 20 zebra midge and they wouldn't hit it. I was surprised. I thought, I can catch fish on that a lot of times. And I didn't have anything smaller really. So it was frustrating. Because they were the coolest looking trout you've ever seen. I mean, just red, dude. All the males were so red. And another thing is those fish are all like, when the ice is out on those high mountain lakes, they're spawning. Like that's what they do the whole summer, I feel like. Or at least, every time I've seen them in high mountain lakes, they are messing with each other.
Yeah.
And so like, there's kind of this whole like enamored with each other thing where they don't, like they won't even see the caddisfly sitting there on top of the water above them, you know?
Yeah. I wonder if it's a thing too where like as humans in a high mountain lake like that, we're always there kind of at the worst time of day to fish because it's like 10 to 2. That's when you make it up there.
Yep.
You know, or 10 to 3, whatever.
That's why I want to do like a
overnighter.
Well, yeah, even like a through trip where you're like, hey, pick me up on this road over here at 2 days from now.
Dude, in a different...
Yes. I'm with you. There was a time.
I know, dude. I like just, and this is the thing. If you're younger than us, listen to me, okay? Don't be irresponsible with your life. You know, God has gifted you with a life, and you should do the things that you need to. However, when you're 24 and you got a couple grand in the bank and you don't have a wife, like, go do it. Go do the thing, man.
Yep.
Like the Colorado Trail is there. Go do it, you know? Like, and I always, well, a lot of things. I spent my money on stupid stuff when I was that age, but like, I just thought that like, it just wasn't the thing that I could do. And you can.
Yep.
You can go do that.
Yeah. And let me tell you this. This is another thing. I say this a lot when I come back from trips like this. So you've probably heard it before if you've listened for a while. You will mess something up. Okay? So, like, if you're going to think that you can listen to Aaron Snyder and do it perfect the first time you go out backcountry, it doesn't matter. Aaron can be the best dude to listen to for the backcountry hunting thing, and you will still mess up things, and you'll still figure out something, and your feet will still have blisters on them, or your socks will be wet, or something will mess up, right? The only way to truly get a system where you can go on a trip and be pretty comfortable and overall have things go your way is to do it. Because the first time that I ever did an overnighter in the mountains was a disaster, dude. And my wife, who was my girlfriend at the time, and my dad went on the trip with me, and we camped, and we got soaked, and we hiked our tails off. I was in prime college football condition. And my dad somehow made it up there with me. But it was rough, dude, in New Mexico. We did this trail. It was unmaintained. Like, there's logs all over it and stuff. Like, I thought, we're about to get into the trout at the top of this thing. We get up to the pond, and there are kids yelling. And I'm like, what is going on? come to find out, talk to one of the kids, there's a ski valley or village or whatever that they just basically walk flat over to this pond and hang out at. And that's what we hiked for like hours straight up a mountain to get to.
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we got soaked all night by rain in our sleeping bags, didn't sleep at all, and walked straight out the next day as opposed to catching a bunch of trout and staying in there a few days. And ate soggy mashed potato, not soggy, wet, cold instant mashed potatoes for dinner. That was what we ate. And that's my first trip. It was a complete disaster, right? Mm-hmm. But like stayed with it, figured out this is the way to do this. This is the way to do that. Didn't do that right. So what else can we do? And you just go, man. And then you end up going into the Black Canyon with 5 gallons of peanut butter.
Yeah. That was my trip
yeah.
that you were there for.
Yeah.
But I brought a full-size jug of peanut butter that I never opened to the bottom of Black Canyon. A full thing, like I think 2 things of trail mix, and I only ate one of them. They were each 2 pounds each.
Yeah.
You know, you think like, dude, my pack could have been 15 pounds less,
Yeah.
maybe 20.
Yeah.
You know, and you just don't realize how much food you actually need for an overnight trip.
Yeah.
And there's always things that
But
you
go
can take
do it
out.
still, right? Like, don't think that you can't do it until you've learned everything from some podcast or until you've had the experience. Like sometimes you just got to be a little bit tough. Go do it, learn from it, and get better and better until like these trips are actually pretty daggum enjoyable. And you know, don't have this anxiety. What is your friend that you were talking about earlier, Mark Kenyon? He has this saying. It's probably not his, but analysis paralysis or whatever. Yeah,
analysis by paralysis, or paralysis by analysis.
Yeah. So don't have that. Like, just get some good ideas going. Plan your trip. Try to listen to as many podcasts and helpful videos as you can before you go, and go do it. Same thing with at least away from home or traveling to hunt. You know, like deer, whitetail deer. Same thing. Just go do it, man. Like, you're probably not going to shoot a deer the first time. Go do it. It's fun. Get out there, get after it, try it, and live. And this is what your 20s are for, man. You know what I mean? Like, that is – your 20s are for messing up and being tough and in good shape.
That's a good point, too, because if you haven't done it till your 30s, then it's real hard to learn stuff in your 30s because life is hitting you real hard, and, like, you just don't have time for that.
Yeah.
But like if you've learned it in your 20s, then you can be kind of where we're at in your early 30s, and you're like, you kind of already got some things ironed out.
Yeah.
If you get a weekend, you don't have to figure out a bunch of stuff. You can just go do it.
Yeah. And you got the gear that you need and everything too. It's already right there. So I don't know. That's kind of
did
my
you know
plug.
we're going to be inspirational
Dude,
today?
I did not know, man. I'm feeling good about it. I'm ready to go though, dude. Like, no, I say all this, and I say all this to say basically, to go back to my point of being super poor here, on that trip up to that high country lake or whatever, right before we got to the parking area, there was a really rough spot, and there was a lot of people out because it was the first day. It was sunny in a few days, and this guy kind of put me in a bad position with my truck as I was about to go over a really rocky spot. And of course, my truck is a Dodge, so it's got a huge, hood that you can't see over. I tried my best, man, but I ended up my truck sits pretty low because it's a kind of an old man truck, and I ended up high centering a rock, but not like getting stuck on it. I just hit it, as I was going through, and I thought it hit the like drive shaft or whatever, or not the shaft, but
differential.
Differential, because that's kind of what sits the lowest normally, and it sounded like it hit something real hard, and I was like, it didn't sound like a piece of tin or something, like a muffler or anything, right? Well, I was like, okay, cool. That thing's pretty hard. No big deal. It's kind of low. It's built to be hit, and so we did our deal, came back down, got in the truck, went and slept that night, got up the next morning, went further south, went kind of got, pointed back the right direction, slept another night, camped, and then ended up getting to Amarillo, and we got to our hotel and checked in, and then we went to the Minions new movie because my kids wanted to go see the Minions, right? Well, we come out of the Minions about 8:30, and there's a pool of something underneath my truck. And I was like, dadgummit,
And
dude.
you don't mean like a stand of crappie type pool?
No, not like stand of crappie. Thicker than a stand of crappie, though. And I was like, man, for sure when I did that high center the other day, something messed up, you know. And I had been noticing my transmission was acting kind of funny on the way in Amarillo. And I thought that what maybe was happening was either I had messed up my gears going down all those mountains and stuff, or my truck was just coming back from elevation and being weird or something, you know, who knows. So, but then anyway, I saw the thick crappie stand of stuff under my truck. I was like, man, something's wrong. So I took my kids and my wife to the hotel, and then I found an automotive place. This is Sunday at 9:00 p.m. So nobody's open. And so I take this thing to this automotive place and drop it off, my truck, and get an Uber back to the hotel. And then at 6 the next morning, wake up, and at 6:30 I'm gone with another Uber guy back to my truck, and they open at 7. So I get there about 6:50, put some stuff in my truck, walk over to the front desk, and I'm like, hey, I think I got some transmission issues. I high centered the other day. And,
call those tissues.
Tissues is what they were. So
appropriately.
Yeah. So Nick, guys, I'm gonna be vulnerable here for a second. So y'all please don't
Save space, man.
please don't be hard on me here. I'm trying to do something that I really love to do for a living. You know what I mean? And I don't. And so I've been pursuing some stuff, and I've probably, like you said, not been super responsible, but I've tried hard. Okay. I get in there and I'm like, got some tissues, and and I was like, can y'all look at it? We are nearly 8 hours from home. Can you please, is there any way you can work me in today? So they come back to me about 20 minutes later, and they're like, looks like you got the converter pipe is bent and the transmission pan is broken, busted. And they're like, it's probably going to be about $3,000. And I was like, no, I don't have that.
Perfect.
So, so like my next few calls are, of course, the first call is to K.C. because I'm like, man, is there any way the Element has that much money? And
the
we
way
didn't.
is no.
We didn't.
Yeah.
I was hoping that there would be a way, because really, here's the deal, y'all. My parents are great, and they would loan me that money in a heartbeat. But I did not want to be 30-something years old asking my parents for money to get back from a vacation where I just like irresponsibly stayed in the mountains with my kids and wife for 10 days, where we literally were pulling money from my band account so that we didn't overdraw our account, that we could pay back when we get back. And my wife gets paid. She gets paid monthly as a teacher, right? And it's bad anyway. So, but we could pay that back, right? So I'm borrowing money from my band account so that we can get through this vacation without overdrawing. Because we had a bunch of expenditures last month. It was a little, more than normal. Anyway, this is like I said, this is me just being transparent with you guys. Like, I am still very broke and still just, I don't know. Me and my wife both have a very high value that we set upon experience and upon doing things with our kids, as opposed to maybe playing it a little bit safer. I don't think that either way is wrong, but the way I think about it is we live in the greatest country on the planet, and I've got lots of friends and family, not necessarily with money, but people that, would be willing to help out if we ever got into a big time bind. And that's a blessing. And I feel like also that, people in America have a lot of discretionary income and are willing to help out people in a bad spot. Maybe I'm abusing the system a little bit, but that's just the way I feel about it. I want my kids to see and do awesome things, see God's creation, and experience how big that is, how small they are, and have a to be enamored with that creation, basically. So that's what we do.
See how small they are.
Yeah.
It's cool.
I mean,
that's how I feel out there.
Yeah. I can't remember who said it. Maybe Matt Chandler. I can't remember who said this, but it was a good quote. And he said, nobody walks up to the Grand Canyon and says, I'm awesome. It's like, this is awesome, right? And those who believe would say, the creator is awesome, right? Some people worship the creation, some people worship the creator. And anyway, that's like my whole perspective on this. But I I just wanted to say that, like, I ended up having to borrow a credit card number from my mom, and I'm a joke. Okay?
Way to go, Debs.
So that is what I am, is a joke. But luckily we got insurance, and they're
Gosh,
gonna
it's crazy
pay
they
back
couldn't
most
just
of it.
invoice you that. You know what I mean?
Well, here's the deals. State Farm would have been able to basically, I could pay my deductible, and they could pay for it up front. But guess what they have to do? Send an adjuster. And if you know anything about adjusters, they don't have anybody's schedule in mind except their own. And so I didn't want to stay in Amarillo for reasons for more than, the hours that I was there, or much less 3 or 4 days while they worked on getting an adjuster, in there to look at my truck. I wanted to get my family home. So
Yeah.
I don't know. It was we were between no pun intended, a rock and a hard place. And, basically had to borrow money from my mom. So I feel like a real loser this day of July. But that's how our trip went, and things happen, like I said earlier, and you learn and you roll and you try to figure out a way through them, and sometimes you do, and sometimes you may not, and deal with the consequences. So anyway,
No, it's good though, man. I'm glad that y'all made it home because
Yeah.
I needed to hear all these stories.
yeah, it was fun, man. It was a good time, and hopefully, I know you got for reasons that are big, you didn't get to go this year, but next year we're going to do some cool stuff, man.
Yeah, my wife is with child, as a lot of y'all probably know. I've probably talked about it on here, but she's on the no travel thing. Pretty much has been that way since kind of summer started, which is
No-fly list?
Yeah, inconvenient, right? No, she's on the no-fly list for different reasons.
Speaking of,
Very volatile.
not to cut you off.
My wife is.
One of the Uber guys told me that he takes a guy to Houston from Amarillo that's on the no-fly list.
How about that?
Like monthly.
Man, what an accomplishment, dude.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Off the books, man.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll be after them pretty soon. I mean, it's like a year away, so it's gonna be fine. And then again, I don't get to go to the mountains. I'm not gonna see mountains at all this year. Because I don't get to go. Well, I'll see out in Arizona. They're going to be like
low-slung mountains,
dry mountains.
Yeah. Yep.
But
that's right, better than dry flatland like
that's
we're in right now.
I'll probably get to drive through some New Mexico mountains to get there. But you're going to get to go do the high country thing up there. Yeah. And that's one of the things we didn't talk about so far. I want to do the hunting application to what you're talking about here a little bit. You went up there with the whole scouting and seeing if it's a good place to hunt thing in mind. And you said, yes, it's a good place to hunt. So that's good news.
Yeah.
What did you learn that kind of makes you approach things any differently without giving away, like, oh, actually, I need to use this trailhead or whatever, you know what I mean?
I think one thing that I wish was offered more, and it was offered for a while there, and people are getting out of it these days for reasons that I understand, is pack services. Because pack services don't make a bunch of money, and people could instead pack in hunters that they guide and make a lot of money off of. So they don't do them. But, man, if there was pack services, you could do some cool stuff. The issue is getting the elk out of something that's super steep, right? You can access something that, like, a lot of guys can go in and access something that's a mile or two deep that's really steep, and you go down into it, right? But getting out with a couple of elk load packs is absolutely miserable. Like, people literally won't shoot elk down in there because when they get down in there, they understand this. I can't get out with an elk. So pack services into stuff like that would be cool. It's something I learned that I wish was a thing because there's some opportunities out there that could be had if you did that. Another thing that I learned is that it's weird. There are definitely like overlook spots. We talk about it with whitetail scouting a lot. There are these areas that, like, the guys that like go hunt or something would say, oh, if you work harder, you can get back into this spot. And there's a 200 in every unit in Colorado. You hear like Newberg say that a lot, I think. There's a 200 in every unit in Colorado, and yes, there is probably. And
He probably eats bird seed and stays in his backyard.
There's that. But like overall, the reason that some of these units take so many points to draw is because they're really good.
Mm-hmm.
It's not because they're overhyped. Not necessarily. That's the way I feel about it, at least. And this is something maybe I'm learning. But like sometimes, like there's units that border some of these really good units, right? That don't take any points hardly. And it's like, man, that country right there looks just the same as right over the border.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something about it, dude. There's something about it that the deer just don't go there for some reason. It's kind of like on any particular property. Y'all think about this. Any property you hunt deer on, there are parts of that property that you always see a buck.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's parts of that property that are not far from there that you never see a buck. Hardly ever.
Mm-hmm.
Or deer or whatever. And it's just something about the habitat that suits them or the way they go about their day or where their food is in relation to where they prefer to bed, that they just never go to that other thing or that other place that looks similar to, you know, that. And I kind of like, you know, if you're putting in for something that is kind of iffy, you're probably going to end up like, unless you're really working hard or you get a little bit of that providence, you're probably going to struggle or you're going to have an iffy hunt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's one of those things where like that stinks to hear if you're 20 and you're just now putting in for draws and stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, there's other ways to go hunt good spots, man, for
There
sure.
is.
But like, I just wanted to say that like, if you're thinking about trying to just like fringe hunt something, better do a lot of research or scouting probably.
Yeah, or go in there and learn it the hard way, and maybe you will find a gem. You know,
Yeah,
you never
yeah.
know about that. But I think that there's always a bigger picture that we have a real hard time seeing when it comes to stuff like that. Like, dude, Iowa is awesome, but it's not much different than northern Missouri or western Illinois or eastern Nebraska or even southern Minnesota, right? But it's different.
Yeah.
For sure. And we can point to a lot of things with Iowa and probably tell you why, but that's kind of a boring podcast, at least for me right now. But, like, in mountain ranges and stuff like that, there's things that, like, we'll probably never understand of, like, you know what? In this whole unit over here, and this is why they're units, because they manage them differently because, well, sometimes they're managing for trophy, but the idea with units originally was to manage them on a ecosystem-like basis. And so, like, those unit lines usually have something to do with ecosystems
Right.
or micro-ecosystems or whatever you want to call it. And, like, you could take a unit, say, like Unit 1, and Unit 2's right – I'm making this up, right? But Unit 1 is this. Unit 2's right next to it. Habitat looks exactly the same. But you know what? Unit 1 has 73% more north-facing slopes than Unit 2 does, so it's actually cooler. And throughout the years, the deer learned that that is the more optimal habitat. But, like, to the naked eye, you can't see it.
Right.
Or maybe, like,
Here's
on
one-
average, this drainage gets 7 more inches of rain every
Yes.
year. But like this year, it might be way wetter than what.
Right.
You know, it could be opposite. It doesn't
Yeah.
make any sense. But the deer is still over there.
That's,
Like,
I mean, that's another thing you don't see, especially is the rain thing, because in the mountains, like certain mountains, individual mountains can push up enough like heat and humidity to cause rain to collect in certain basins more than it does literally a mile that way or 2 miles that way or whatever. Right. So like you have these, like I noticed that was another thing I did notice because we moved around so much was how dry like some of the stuff that we hunted or that we fished first and last was the area around it. And obviously stuff grows, different things grow there too. You know what I mean? Like there might be more pine in the dry areas than there is in the spruce in the wetter areas or whatever. So like you can notice that stuff. You spend a lot of time there, but most of us are going to the mountains to hunt and don't spend a whole lot of time there. So it's hard to notice this stuff, and it's hard to know like where rain builds up usually and ends up dumping out and stuff like that. And that makes it tough, dude.
Yeah.
Like there's, like I said, there's so many variables that we can't even understand, but you just know like historically now that these units are good units because people have had good hunts there for years and years and years now.
Yep, that's exactly right. And I think that, you can be kind of one of two guys, and you get to be the other guy every 10 years, or 12 years, or 14 years, whatever it might be. You can be the guy who like is constantly trying to find a honey hole in a diamond in a rough type thing, or you can be the guy who just sits around and waits on the good hunt and goes on the good hunt. Not saying either one of those guys is doing something wrong, because one guy's going to have to work a whole lot less hard than the other guy. Mm-hmm. And it's just boils down to what you just said, like how much time do you have?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But you know what I do know?
What?
We got an event coming up this weekend, and that you ought to go if you're listening to this thing.
I'm planning on going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely should. The rest of you should go to our website, theelementwild.com. Get tickets. It's an e-ticket. Don't forget, it ain't a 7-day shipping ticket. It's an e-ticket, even if shipping says something weird.
Yeah.
And we're going to, hope to see a bunch of you guys there, because we're giving away tons of things. Onyx.
If you work in Houston, you can make it there in time for the event.
What time does it start?
6 o'clock.
Yeah.
But we aren't going to start the video until like 6:20. So if you 6:30
this schedule.
All right, 6:30.
Yeah.
You got time to get there, guys.
6:30. You can still make it by 6:30.
That's right, exactly. And if you know what, if you're coming in a little bit later, something like that, let us know. We'll make sure and save you food and stuff.
Yeah.
I would imagine we'll have ample either way, but I think we do need to give the specific details of that, like the time and place, because we didn't talk about that at the beginning. But,
that's right.
So this will be in Buda, Texas, Buda, which is actually Austin, Texas, but it's kind of like well, I'm from Spring, which is Houston. Okay, guys, y'all stop that. I'm from the Woodlands. That's Houston. I'm from Bel Air. It's all Houston, okay? I don't know the San Antonio ones. The Heights. I'm from the Heights. It's San Antonio, okay? But it's South Austin, so it's convenient for a lot of the Central Texas folks. So that'll be starting at 6 p.m. at the Cabela's in Buda, Texas. We're going to have some delicious Mexican food, and we're going to watch some good videos and be wrapping up around 8:30. So y'all come out and join us at that. The tickets are limited, but we do have some left. We really want y'all to go. We want to hang out and do this thing. And sorry, it's not last minute, because we've had this thing planned for about a month, but normally we talk about this stuff for a couple months ahead of time. Mm-hmm. So, anyways, come on down Friday night. It's going to be a good time.
Yep.
And if nothing else, we're going to have fun, and maybe y'all can at least see us have fun.
Yeah, we're going to start hanging out about 6 o'clock. We'll be giving away Onyx, a bunch of Onyx, cruiser saddle, some First Light catalyst system stuff, Moultrie cell cams, Vector arrows, definitely going to give away some Element T-shirts. We're going to have new T-shirts.
New T-shirts, like a couple different new T-shirts. Yeah.
3 different new T-shirts from our fall collection. You get a chance at those before any of the, dudes from Maine get them. And because I know ain't nobody coming from Maine to Austin. But yeah, that's some of the stuff. I'm going to try to see if Onyx wants to send us some Onyx shirts and stuff too.
I think they are going to.
Good.
I don't know if we have them yet, but they're going to.
Yeah. So we'll do some stuff, man. It's going to be fun. We're going to watch the movie, the dinner. We're going to eat the dinner. We're going to do some map scouting, some Q&A, going to do giveaways, and just hang out and kind of have a like-minded fellowship of dudes that are interested in DIY mobile hunting, especially when it comes to whitetail. So that's kind of the idea. We can't wait to see you guys. We're really thankful for those who have already bought tickets, and we are excited to see you. And the rest of you guys, man, we'll be seeing you Friday night. Anything else?
That's all I know, bro.
All right. Well, don't forget to buy your tickets, and remember, this is your element.
Living it.
Yeah!
Hey guys, turkey season is in full swing right now, and if you are planning on getting after it, make sure to pick up some meat eater Phelps turkey calls to stuff into the old turkey vest or into your fanny pack right now. I carry a few different things. I like to use mouth calls, and I like to use pot calls. Mouth calls or diaphragms, I like them because it gives you hand-free calling, meaning when you're working a bird up close, you can have your gun on your knee, finger on the trigger, ready to roll, and still be making turkey sounds. I like pot calls. I just like pot calls. I enjoy calling with a pot call. Whatever direction you go, including a box call, which I don't personally use too much, but they're fun and great, and I started out with them. Yanni, on the other hand, one of my main turkey hunting buddies, he loves box calls. And what's funny is I'll now and then look to him and give him the look that means get out your box call and find us a turkey. So it's not that I don't like them. I just have Yanni use his. Then I don't have to carry it. Go to Phelps Game Calls. Get calls that are made in the USA and get calls that'll get them close. Find yours at phelpsgamecalls.com today.